Good morning, everybody. I've missed you. Today we are going to talk about God's shield of faith. The Bible talks a little bit about faith in Hebrews, and it says that faith is being sure of what we hope for and certain of what we do not see. That can get kind of tricky sometimes. It's hard to believe something or to trust something that we can't see or hear or taste or touch or smell. God gave us all of our senses, and we like to use those so that we can figure out if something is real and something is believable. In our Bible story today, we have Noah. And lots of people know the story of Noah and his ark and how he was on the boat with lots of animals for 40 days and 40 nights of raining. But think about Noah having to build the boat. Think about how long it took him to build a gigantic boat that would house 2 of every animal on earth. I bet trusting God and believing that he needed to build that boat so that he could save all those animals and save his family must have been really hard. God's enemy, the devil, wants us to have doubts about whether God is real and whether what he says is something that we can trust. And I bet the devil put lots of people around Noah who doubted what God had to say. I bet they questioned everything he did. Every time he put another nail in, they wondered and they laughed at him as to why he would keep spending his time making such a big boat when it doesn't even rain that much. I bet they asked him if he was crazy. I bet they made fun of him. I bet they told their kids to stay away from the crazy guy building the boat. Even though Noah couldn't see any rain when he was building, he didn't know where any floods were going to come from. He couldn't hear God, he couldn't see God, he couldn't smell God, touch God, taste God. Even without all of that, Noah trusted that what God had to say was real. So he kept on building that boat. And when it came time, he put all the animals on the boat. And he put his family on the boat. And after all that trusting and all that faith in what God had to say was true, the rain started pouring down and the floodwaters came. And Noah was safe inside the ark. Why was he safe? Because he trusted that what God promised would come true. And that is faith. When we listened to the Bible verses a few weeks ago, and we talked about God's holy armor, the shield of faith is what protects us against God's evil enemy, the devil. That shield helps to defend us from all the attacks that the devil has to bring at us. We know God's promises. We know God always tells the truth. And we know he loves us very much. Because we trust all those things to be true, we can use our shield of faith to deflect all of the attacks of doubt and worry and not trusting. Because we have our shield of faith. So this week, your homework is to be thinking about all the ways that you can trust what God promises you in your life. You may not have to build a giant boat. God promised us with the rainbows that we wouldn't have to worry about a big flood like that anymore. But I bet there's little ways, maybe even big ways in your life that you can trust God's promises for you. You can trust that what God says is real and that he's going to come through for you because he loves you very much. So that's your homework this week. Look for ways to trust God's promises. I'll see you guys next week.